Alrighty, you want to go over the code for this particular project. So this is going to be a project where it's going to be getting the sum of the numbers. And I once again have your template set up. So you have areas where you're going to prompt the user to enter a number, create a print statement to display what number the user has entered, and you're going to be utilizing a loop to get the sum of the numbers up to that user's number. Okay, and then you're going to display what the sum is. So if we look at basically the sample output, this is basically what we'll look at. So this one also is including a couple elements of the challenge code because I have some coloring to it. So for the basics, you don't need to have the coloring in there, but this is what you need. Enter a number and I will calculate the sum. So you're basically explaining to the user the instructions. What is your number? 10, and this is going to be your test data. You have entered 10, so you're going to reply back, and the sum is basically 55. So anytime when you enter 10, the sum needs to be 55. Again, you need to do a loop to calculate that. Now I have some challenge code here that you're able to create basically a print statement that calculates the sum and displays what numbers have been added. So you can see that 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 all the way up to 5 is equal to 55. So you're displaying this portion there for the challenge code. Challenge code plus plus, you're going to prompt the user if they want to play again, and yes or no. So you want to make sure that that basically works. And again, you want to basically create a flowchart to this to help with the logic. Otherwise, you're going to be spending literally way too much time trying to code things and figure things out in the code. Draw a flowchart or do pseudo code. Now, to kind of show you basically how things work, let me open up a terminal and basically go through the instructions there. Alright, so this is basically a live of how the system will work. So what's my number? I enter 10. You have entered number 10. The sum is 55. Play again. And if I basically, if you're able to figure this out, because eventually at some point we will be implementing this segment of code in some future programs. So if I basically say, play again, and it's like, well, maybe, well, that was not a valid answer. So there's additional things in the code that checks to see if it's yes or no, or basically Y or an N. Play again, no. Well, I inputted this, and it's looking for input of Y or N. Again, this is a challenge code. Future labs will have something like this coming up. So if you can't figure it out, that's fine, because we'll go over how to create something like this in some future labs. So if I want to play again, yes, and then what's my number? If I do basically, well, if we did 10, that was answer was 55. If I do 11, that should give me 66, right? Play again, no, and then we have basically thanks for playing. So that's basically how this program works. So not that difficult, several lines of code. Again, so one piece of code is going to be utilized for getting a number from the user, printing out the value, creating a loop, and then basically displaying. So that's basically the basics of it. So you're looking at several lines of code when it comes down to that. And the challenge code, again, it's just something a little bit extra if you have the means to doing that. And again, this is utilizing a function. So you need to make sure that everything is done underneath here, and everything is done underneath these things, and it's indented correctly. And that is it for this particular project.